Hi everyone and welcome back to the channel. We are out today again working on the Duramax GU, and this time we're going to be working on the back end just here. So in the last episode we did a little bit of work to the new diff, which is a H260. We're changing that out from the H233 that is still in the car at the moment. If you do want to check that out, there is a video on the channel of it, and also a video of us installing these long arms. So that's one part of the suspension that is already done. So I'll leave a link to both of those in the top of the video just now. Anyway, what we're going to be doing is removing the last upper arm, the lower arms and the panhard rod, and we should pretty much be able to remove the diff and slide it out the back of the car, and then we'll get ready to install the H260 in the back here. Anyway, if you guys do want to see what's going on and continue to follow the build, make sure you smash the subscribe button, but let's get into it. Be fitting the anti-seize to all these new bolts. The second arm's already undone and loosened off. This is from ages ago, so I'm hoping this diff doesn't roll too badly. Well, it's not what I wanted to happen, but that's all I can do. And slide him over. I might actually leave the bolts out because so I touch up some paint inside the actual arms. Okay, so now that we've done that, we're going to get in and try and manoeuvre the diff out from underneath the chassis and sort of just sit it over there near the toolbox for the moment and get ready to slide the big girl in. Alright, so we should be able to roll this out the back now. And not let it knock over our table. Wow. That sounds sketchy. Okay, so now that we've got that out of the way, what I'm going to do is support it back again with the engine crane. I can move the jack out of the way for the moment. I'm not rolling that diff in from the back, I'll drag it in from the side. So it should be completely fine. But what I do want to do is just under the coil hats, I want to give that another coat of paint just to double up on it and make sure everything's nice and sealed. And there's a few other spots like just in here where I'd like to have another go at. So I'll get all that done and we'll come back to starting to install this diff and suspension. Testing. Alright, so test alright. Okay guys, so we got a bit carried away, and instead of just touching up the paint, I decided to repaint the whole back end of the chassis, pull the tow bar off because I've been wanting to do that for a while, and this is where things are currently sort of sitting. So I'm going to have to wait overnight for this stuff to dry. Being it's an epoxy, it does take a long time to dry, but it definitely has a beautiful finish. So everything's been repainted again. Anyway, so that'll be it for tonight, and I'll see you guys in just a second. Alright, another day back in the shed. We're going to get straight into it and start putting the long arms back underneath the chassis. As you can see, the chassis has turned out beautifully from, it was actually 2 days ago when I painted this. So it's looking pretty good. We're going to put the long arms back under and then make way for the H260. Let's go. Bit of anti-seize on them, a lot of anti-seize on them. Just like that. Alright, to the other side. So these are the new arms here from Superior Engineering, and one thing I do like to do with these is not only anti-seize the bolts but also put an anti-seize on the threads. So I'm going to do that just before I put them in. Alright, we are going to leave all these bolts loose just for the moment because it's got no weight on the vehicle, well, on the chassis, so I don't want to pinch the bushes, but they're in there. Now let's get to putting this diff in. A bit of a balancing act. It actually balanced a lot better than I thought it was going to. Alright, if I get that around like that, this might be a lot easier than I thought. Is that out of the way? Oh, move the camera out of the way. It's getting pretty close. Right, same. Bit of anti-seize on the bolts. Or a lot of anti-seize on the bolts. And I'll move the anti-seize out of the way because I'm already doing the anti-seize thing where it gets everywhere. Damn, I nearly laid on that bolt. That would have been interesting. Now I need a hammer. Bolt on. Other side. So I've done the thing that no one wants to do and touch the anti-seize. Now I gotta go clean that off. Same as last time. Cover everything in anti-seize, including myself. And I just touched it again. Diff's still gotta go backwards just a tiniest bit. Move over. Damn, this thing's rolled. In fact, these need to be extended out a lot. We'll situate it there for the moment. And I will work this out at a later date. And I forgot to anti-seize that one. Yes, I did. Which is about there, from what I can see. Pretty spot on. Damn, I'm good. Last but not least, the nut. Alright, so after a quick anti-seize clean off and a battery change, back to some more anti-seizing. So I've got a rear panhard rod to put in. Still got all this stuff here for suspension to go in the car. So we've got a lot. But I'll dig out the rear panhard rod in one of these boxes and get to work and then pull the coils out. Wow, so that took me a minute. I unpacked the wrong one. I feel like this is always too much. I can't get rid of it. So I just wipe more on. Alright, well that's what it's getting. It looks totally disgusting and horrible and there's so much. And I'm going to wipe some off with a rag because there's just too much. There we go. Nice thin smear. needs to go out by a mile. And I need to jack it up as well. Shiny. Let's leave it a tiny bit loose. So, next we'll install the rear coils. So these are the coils we've decided to go with. They're a set of Dobinson coils. They're a medium rate coil, and I think they have, I can't remember if it was 150 or 200 kilos constant weight. Alright, so there is a left and a right coil as well. If you're sort of new to this, the driver's side or the right hand side coil is the taller one, and the passenger side is the shorter one. Damn, that's looking pretty. That's a nice back end. Nice. That big diff all painted up, the chassis, new suspension. Oh, loving it. I actually completely forgot we've got to put shocks in this thing as well, so we'll do that next. Okay, so these are the shocks that we've decided to go with for the rear. These are a 2.5 Dobinson, I think these are the MRAs or IMAs? MRR. So the MRRs. These are the newest ones that they've done. These have been valved to suit the Patrol. They look very, very nice. I've had the older series of these in the past in this particular car. I've actually still got them hidden over there somewhere on the shelf, at least the rear ones. And they were good, but I wasn't the biggest fan, honestly. Apparently their new ones have come a long way, and I thought I'd give them another shot and see how they go. I've had a couple of different sets of shocks in this over the year, everything from cheap Commando eBay shocks to superior remote resis. I had a set of 13-inch resis in this. This thing used to drop 37s below the seals. It was a pretty crazy sort of a setup. And Tough Dog, and obviously, yeah, the old Dobinsons. So we'll throw these in. Got to work out the bush configuration, have a quick brush over of the instructions, got some bushes, and then this pretty cool looking mount that actually comes with them. So I need to figure out where I'm going to mount this up. If I can put this, it'd be cool to put it on top, but I don't think I'll be able to, even with the body lift in the car. Just don't think there's going to be enough room. But if I can do that, that's where it's going to go. If I can't, I'll have to try and mount it up, probably under the body somewhere. Where does it go? Roughly there. I did have the old one mounted around here somewhere. It was a completely different bracket, but it was mounted around there somewhere, so I'll figure it out anyway. That's sort of the last of the issues, but it's pretty cool how it does come with a sort of quality looking bracket. Alright, so unfortunately I missed me installing the shocks. I thought the camera was recording, I didn't press record. So here they are, looking really nice. So really thick shock. Like I said, these have been valved to suit the Patrol at its current weight and everything, so these should perform awesome. Now if you haven't seen my other episode where I was doing stuff on the diff, I did actually slightly clearance the bump stop pad, and that's because at full up travel they do come in contact, and I have seen it a few times where they hit the shock. So I've just taken a couple of mil off the back of this, and it should hopefully stop that problem. Next problem is going to be where to mount the resis, but I'm thinking about there somewhere on the front of the strut tower support, and I'll just drill a couple of holes, put a couple of mount bolts through, and I reckon that should be about perfect. And because I've got the body lift going in this as well, I'll have plenty of clearance between this and the bottom of the cab. So I reckon that's going to work out perfect, and it sort of keeps the hoses on a nice straight travel rather than them being bent or curled around on each other. So I reckon that is going to be spot on, and I'll just put some rubber or something over the edges. They're not sharp or anything, but just for that little bit of added protection, I'll just put a bit of rubber or foam or something right on the edge. Alright, so yeah, rear sway bar, front sway bar. So front sway bar is a flat sway bar. The rear one goes over the top of the diff, and that's obviously to clear the diff housing and pumpkin, whatever you want to call it. People have different names, but yeah, that's what it's for. So I have been told by Superior they're not sure if this actually fits a H260. Now, I spoke to one guy, he said yes, one guy said no, and one guy said they don't know. That was all in the same phone call because they all went and asked each other and no one could give me a straight answer. I have asked on Patrol Hub, and a couple of guys reckon they run them with their H260s, so I'm really hoping it fits, because if not, I'm going to be a bit sad. Anyway, I'm going to get in and unbox these last two quickly. Might as well do that now while we're looking at it. So, pretty cool. Superior. And then this one here is taped up, but that'll be the rear stuff. So I'll get in and do that, and we can start installing it. Okay, so now that we've undone all the boxes, opened them up, the one thing I did notice, and I don't know if it was my fault or Superior's fault, but I'll take it because it probably was mine. They've sent me some 4-inch sway bar links for one set and 3-inch for the front set, so, or vice versa. I'm going to put the 4-inch ones in the back because I've got longer shocks in the back than I do in the front, so not a big deal anyway. It's not gonna really affect anything. They're only a tiny bit longer, so probably about that much longer from what I measured between the two, so it's not going to make a huge difference. And another cool thing that I did notice is that they come with sway bar disconnect pins. I didn't know that. I thought it was a separate thing you had to buy. So they're quick disconnects for it, or you can put the bolts in it. So again, pretty cool that I don't have to spend, you know, however much more to be able to get that. It comes with it. So I'm going to assemble these links and get under the car and start putting the brackets on. Okay, so we're fitting the sway bar brackets up now, and you need to get to this gusset piece in the corner here. This is sort of what they look like once they're done, but you drop this in the back. You need to get the skinnier end facing upwards, and then you're probably wondering what these brackets are for. Oh, these big washers are for, and what they're for is to actually fill in these holes. So that these don't move up and down. Otherwise, you've got this giant hole here that's pretty much going to allow the bracket just to move where it wants to. So it's a bit awkward. I'm going to do it off camera, but they go in there, clamp to the bracket in the back, and then the main bracket here goes on the front. And just for a quick note as well, the bolt holes face upwards on this, not downwards. Otherwise, you'll put it on the wrong side like I did the first time. So I'll get in and get that done, and we'll show you afterwards. Alright, so now that we've done these brackets behind me, they're all nice and tight. I've put a little bit of Loctite just on the bolts as well to make sure they don't rattle loose. They have got spring washers and stuff, but I like to do that as a bit of a precaution. You need to get your bushers next. Now there is a difference between the front and rear, and you will need your factory brackets. So if you don't have any of these, I'm pretty sure you can order them from Nissan or Patrol Apart. I don't know if anyone else stocks them. Luckily I have the rear ones off this diff, but yeah, it's something I didn't realise. I actually thought they come with new brackets, but they don't, so just make sure you have those. Anyway, we're going to unwrap this sway bar now and stick it over the top. We'll mount it to the diff itself, and then we'll install the links and set them up roughly. Like I said, all this is going to have to be set up properly once the car's on the ground at ride height with the weight on it. But just for the moment, we are going to set it up the best we can. So I'll unwrap that and we'll come back to it in just a sec. All right, now that we've got the sway bar all unpackaged, we're going to set this in its spot. And so far, it looks like it's going to work, which is good. And the big advantage of these sway bars over your factory ones is your factory ones have only got really short links on them. These are about double the length, which is why you need to put the brackets so far out. The factory brackets up here, I'll move the camera to show. So this is the aftermarket bracket, and that is where the factory one goes. And as you can see, the arms would only be about this long. And with these ones, that's where you get so much more flex out of them, because you've got such a long arm to actually be able to use over the short stubby one. so we ended up getting those sway bars in off camera. I had a bit of trouble with the driver's side upper bolt. The threads were a bit messed up. Oh, they were full of paint and stuff. So I've put a tap through them and they've come out good. I just need to get a new bolt, which I've got on the bench. I just need to cut a bit shorter. Unfortunately, yeah, that happened. So you get that on the big jobs. But anyway, I'll give you a couple of shots of all the new suspension, and we're probably going to call it at that for this video. We've got a heap coming up in the future for other videos. So guys, if you do want to see that, make sure you smash the subscribe button. Over the last month, we've had probably around 60,000 views on the channel, which is pretty cool. It means that, you know, some of these videos are getting out there, but we've only got about 4 or 5% of you guys subscribed. So if you can, take a few seconds and hit that button. We've got so much coming on the channel, and not only this, but I'm sure we're going to get other builds along the way like I have previously. And if you want to go and see any of those, jump over the channel. I'll leave links at the end of the video to my channel and also to some other videos and stuff you might be interested in. Now, coming up, we've also got a video on the underbody of this. We're going to be degreasing, cleaning and repainting, so that's going to look nice and pretty for when the body drops on it as well. And hopefully next week we'll have the engine mounts back that we've sent off to the laser cutters, and hopefully they work out and we can get that engine mounted in place and drop the body back down and have a look at everything. So anyway, I'll give you a couple of rollers of around the suspension and we'll call it at that. So guys, thank you, and I'll catch you all in the next one.